Welcome to the Nightside Project. Ethan Millard and Alex Keary here with you. You remember the story of that mink farm in Farmington that was raided just in the past couple of weeks. Minks set free, records and facilities destroyed, and the FBI is still looking for the perpetrators. Now, one animal activist who has served time in prison for disrupting fur operations is in Utah, offering to provide financial and legal assistance to whoever the police pick up for this crime. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to have him live on the Nightside Project.
Why not? We have to, right? Why not? Why not have the guy on?
Well, I'm interested to hear his story.
Look,
this surprises me.
If you're not familiar with the story, there were thousands of minks that were let loose, that were let out of their cages from this. It was from a mink farm. Vandals broke into the farm, opened their pens. They also vandalized the trucks that they were in. But you know, a lot of these animals were dead. And Ethan, I thought that you pointed this out, that a lot of these animals died because of them being let out, because there were generations basically of.
Yeah, these are not wild animals. These are, I mean, at this point, they're animals that have, you know,
one specific purpose.
Hundreds of generations behind them of just, you know, being bred like this. You know, Alex, a couple of things really surprised me about this story. Number one, there's a mink farm, a sizable mink farm in Farmington. Okay, that frankly stunned me.
Yeah, that blew our minds on the Nightside Project, because frankly I haven't seen somebody wear mink since like 1985.
Well, and that's the other thing, that I mean, not just that there's one in Farmington, that people wear mink. Who wears fur coats? I can't remember the last time I saw someone wear a real fur coat. Now, are all these animals exported to Russia? I doubt it, because in Russia they don't have, you know, I mean, they don't have even the minimum laws that we have here protecting animals and regulating these businesses. So, you know, I can't imagine that all these animals are exported. Yeah. Although I guess they may be. I would imagine that Russia probably raises and slaughters its own mink.
You mean they're not getting them directly from Farmington, Utah?
But
they're not over in Russia going, this is good Utah mink. Mink from Utah, Farmington.
When was the last time you saw someone with a fur coat, a real fur coat?
You know, I don't know if they're real or not, but every time you go up to Sundance, you see the full garb. You see, I'm not just talking about the fur line neckline. I'm talking about the full thing. I've seen the full fur coats.
At Sundance?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. Or at least the half ones. You know, the ones nowadays, it's like they're so high rise. It's like so you can see their midriff, but they still have a
short jacket.
Yeah, but they still have that's popular. I'm not sure if the fur's real or not. I see stuff now. I could never look at fur and be like, oh, real. 575.
Yeah, you have to get in there and hunt around for a little shriveled paw.
Yeah,
or something like that to know if it's real.
57500 is the text number. And you know what? We've already had some people say, hey, look, this is ridiculous that people would do this, because it's frankly their livelihood. Someone in our chat, they're saying, look, this is their livelihood. He says, I have a buddy who has a family mink farm. This is burning down their livelihood, frankly. When people break in, take it upon themselves, and you know, you heard the soundbite right before the show. They believe that they can operate above the law. I mean, that's basically what he said.
This is really interesting to me, Alex, because, I mean, number one, I'm surprised we have a mink farm so close. Number two, I'm surprised there's a market for mink fur. And number three, you know, as soon as you start talking about it, bam, you got people coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, yeah, I work at a mink farm, or, oh, yeah, my friend has a mink farm. I mean, I just, I'm frankly surprised by this entire thing.
I didn't know. If you'd have said, hey, is there a mink farm here in Utah? I'd be like, no. Those were extinct back in like 1988.
No, mink farms, not really.
No, I think MC Hammer bought the last mink fur coat. So, I don't know.
And then ate it.
I really don't know what to think about this, because I look at it and say, wait a minute, that's breaking the law, because these guys broke the law. Whoever released I mean, they didn't just release the animals either. And just like we talked about last week, Ethan, they released these mink. And they were, they just think it's part of the collateral damage. They know that these animals aren't going to just survive out in the wild.
Well, I guess some of them will.
Would they really?
Well, I mean,
some mink is just like curled up next to a rock out in the West Desert or something, or getting around in the trees.
Well, but the climate here, You know,
Oh,
if
it's
you were to
similar to where other
no,
minks
but I mean, if you were to
thrive?
look at, like, for example, Farmington, you could see a mink getting up into the foothills and finding, I don't know, lizards or mice or whatever. I guess some mink would probably make a real effort. I think though
What is it,
that
a
you're
Disney
right.
movie?
Coming home,
Mink goes west.
they'll go back to where their great grandfather was originally trapped.
Which is where? I don't even know where they're natural. But here's the deal.
A subdivision now somewhere near Denver.
We had this discussion last week, and we're like, well, if fur, I mean, frankly, if you're just using it for the fur, there's got to be something else that people are using this for. And then somebody said, hey, no, look, it's not just for fur. It's mink oil. I think what was it? Honestly,
egg mink muffins.
Egg mink muffins. That was just fun. That's plain funny.
That was one of the texts that came in.
That's plain funny, and we're not even, obviously they're not using it for food. I wouldn't think. I never think a mink wouldn't necessarily be fair. Would it?
I don't know. Do people eat mink? I have no idea. I frankly don't know.
All right.
I frankly don't know.
Look what we got here. Utah is number 2 in the nation for the most number of mink farms with 66 farms, including the biggest mink farm in the nation. So there's a this is
like this crazy shadow industry here.
So you see that it wouldn't be just a situation where you have the mink rolling in for I mean, there's not just 1 or 2 farms here. People going, I heard you can make some money off this. This isn't like the alpaca stuff that you hear on TV. Get the alpaca, get their fur. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a huge industry here in Utah, and frankly, people are afraid to even start or keep their business going, under the threat of folks under the dark of night with ideas of, well, I'm above the law in this because the law isn't out there to protect these animals. That's really what we just heard at the top of the hour. So they are above the law in that sense, and they break it. And if they're caught, then in a lot of cases you can actually be charged with a felony. I just don't know. Mink farms, there are a lot of mink farms in Summit County, tons of them. This one says mink are very mean and stinky, really stinky. Most are sent to the east, to the Orient.
Hey, look at that. Here's the text here. It says, I completely back up people who free minks. The minks will die no matter what if they stay in the farm. It needs to end. There are so many fur farms in Utah. Animals are not ours to use. We need to let them live their lives without slaughtering them. Now,
look, we've got a couple ways for you to get involved in this, because we're having a lively discussion in the chat room. Go to KSL.com, click on the radio tab, or go to nightsideproject.com, click on that chat. It's a fun time, frankly, to say the least. You see us there, you see all your friends, your chatting friends in there, and the arguments continue as to who's right and who's wrong in that sense. And even when you go to commercial, the argument continues. 57500 is the text number. And Ethan, coming up in this next block here, we're going to bring on an important guest to the Nightside Project, and he's going to help us understand exactly what happened.
Well, it's the man himself, Peter Young. He's in town. He put up $2,500 to defend anyone who's arrested in connection with the mink farm release from last week, well, I guess about a week and a half ago,